Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
There's a new financial empowerment center located in the Wayne County Treasurer's Office on the 5th floor of 400 Monroe in Detroit.
If you or someone you know needs help with their finances, budgeting, and making monthly payments, the Detroit Financial Empowerment Center can help.
Wayne Metro Community Action Agency has counselors ready to provide free one-on-one counseling to help you address issues related to utility bills, taxes, and other financial matters. We can also help you improve your credit score.
Well, good morning. This is Friday, the 19th of February. We're into, I think, our third Friday of Black History Month. And if you were looking to tune in to the weekly broadcast of Ask Welfare Rights, you have once again found us. My name is Maureen Taylor, and I work with the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization, and I'm here with my colleague, Marion Kramer, the National Chair of the Welfare Rights Union, who's going to give you an official welcome. So, Marion, please say good morning and hello.
Good morning. You know, it's hard. It was hard getting out of with all that snow again this morning. You go to bed, and then you wake up, and you get the snow off your lawn, and then you wake up and you got to go out there again and shovel. But we made it. We made it.
All right.
And I want you to understand that we want you to call in and let us know what's going on in your neighborhood and what have you. Have you got the your virus
Your
shot?
vaccine?
Yeah, and that what have you. You can call in and let's talk at 313-868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-0355. Oh, I
You
skipped.
read that one. The one to the left now.
Mm-hmm. So call in and participate in the discussion this morning. The website is www.tv33.
That's not right.
TV33.com, TV33. Those of you that have a computer, you know what it is. So what's on, Maureen?
All right. Well, today I thought we would continue the theme of Black History Month. There's some announcements that we're going to have made throughout the broadcast this morning. But I thought maybe we might start with calling up the memory of another Black history icon, a real champion and whatnot. And I thought you'd be able to bring our audience up on Mr. General Baker.
A lot of people be asking about who was General Baker. Was he a general in the Army, Maureen? Did it go off?
No, go ahead.
A general in the Army. Yeah, he was a general in the Army for the section of the class that we're a part of, and that's the low income and disabled and whatever else people out here. He was a part of that class. And General Parents, his father came here back in the 30s, I think, and General and his two sisters were able to come with them the youngest sister wasn't born at that time, and that was Valerie Baker, who is also very active out here. But General Baker went to Western School and
Western High School.
and he even there he was a person to listen to, you know. And once he graduated and what have you, it was during the period of time when they were trying to get more and more soldiers in the Vietnam War and all that type of stuff. But General Baker decided that, look at here, I'm not going. And at that time, prior to that, I had skipped some stuff, but prior to that, he and some friends like John Williams and quite a few other people, Luke Tripp, and all of them got together and said that, well, since you have to go to before the board today, we're going to have
The draft board.
we're going to have a demonstration. And Baker was ready. And they went out there, and they had done leaflets and everything and said how many people were going to show up, Maureen. And the board was scared. I mean, because nobody had ever told them, you know, no, you know, I'm coming, but
Refusing to be drafted.
yes. And when Jen went in, and the man started talking to him about the you know, going into the service and stuff. In the end, Jen told him, when you talk about when you move to take care and of 12th Street, I'll be ready.
Freedom things. Don't
You
talk
know,
about
I will
sending me
be
to go
ready.
free
This was
somebody.
during the civil
You
rights
know,
movement and
yeah,
all
it
that
was
stuff
free
going
12th
on.
Street.
Free 12th Street. When you free 12th Street, then I will be a part of that. Well, you know, eventually they let General Baker go because they didn't want nobody in the service like General Baker talking that stuff. But he made it out. But after that, he was, you know, he went through, General was stayed firm in representing the interests of workers out here. He worked, his father at the time was in the factory, and he had some uncles in the factory all over the place, and he represented, he was at Dodge, one of the first place that he started working in was Dodge, Maine. And at Dodge, Maine, Baker and Chuck Wooten and quite a few got together. I know we were working together because I was at WCO, West Central Organization, and Baker and then would come over there to use our facilities as far as, you know, getting
Printing.
yeah, to be able to get the leaflets to go together. Dodge, and it became the Dodge. The first thing that was organized was the Dodge Revolutionary Union movement, and in there, we had quite a few people that were active at that time. Particularly, the rebellion had gone on at that time, and what have you. And what happened was we ended up developing the League of Revolutionary Black Workers, and every month. Not just every month, every day, workers was coming in there, be it from hospitals, be it from other facilities and what have you, and they want one of those leaflets, Maureen,
About union organizing.
because but the thing was, we would help them to print them and teach them how to print, but they would sit down. Baker was good about this, and the board was good about this. You will sit down with one of the people here, and we will show you how to do a leaflet, because this is one of your tools. And they would take those leaflets and get them together and take them right on into
Where they were
Dodge,
working.
Maine, all those various places. We were Ford. I know Mitch and I. They try to scare Mitch and I.
William Mitchell.
When we had the responsibility to go out to Ford Motor Company and trying to get us off out of there for, you know, passing out leaflets and stuff like that. But they did not want us on the premise of none of these the factories to let the workers know this is your rights. And then it built into a thing that we needed to run somebody to be president of the of the union, at the League of Revolutionary Black Workers Union. And one of our brothers that stepped forward, what's his name? He used to be on the TV here.
See there, that's what I mean. Write this stuff down.
already
You're talking
now-
about Ron March.
Yeah, Ron Marsh.
You got a lot
Ron-
of names to remember.
I can't remember all those names, but Ron became. We talked to him. He became the president, and we ran a darn good.
Y'all had a slate.
You real right. We had a darn good slate, and in that particular time, as people would go out to support the union movement led by the League of Revolutionary Black Workers, the police would be out there from Hamtramck and all, and trying, and we knew that the head of the union was outraged that they were getting exposed at that time. But because of the action of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers and the students, Black
Student Union.
yeah, they were instrumental. Not they, all of us were instrumental in fighting against the question of racism and what we were being confronted with at that time. And General Baker was one of those people that were in the forefront of that. And he and Charles Simmons and some other people had an opportunity to go to Cuba at that time and learn about what was happening in Cuba. And they were there. While they were there, Maureen, they were able to play ball with Fidel.
Talking about baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
while they were there, and play ball with some of the other folks that were there. But when Jen came back, they didn't like the idea that here was this young black man that's gone to Cuba and what have you. But let me fast forward this. General got arrested during the rebellion here.
67.
And what they did, because they would let people go to work. Although we had you were supposed to be in the house by 7:00, people could go to work to all these factories
Curfew.
to take care of the profit, make the profit for these various companies and stuff like that. They arrested General Baker, and they put him on a bus of workers that have been arrested. Jen said it looked like Dodge Main on that thing, and they sit him in the front, and they told the workers that were sitting on that bus that was being arrested at that time during the
Breaking
rebellion
curfew.
that now they told them if y'all give us any trouble, and they had put the shotgun in his chest, we will kill him. So, Baker knew how to retreat and still move. When we finally got them out, and at that time, a gang of attorneys were being developed. Community was beginning to rise. And Baker became a well-known person that was going to fight for the interests of not only, because I know with us, I was working still in the community. And when I met General and Glanton Didell, who was instrumental in this, and others, I felt good, because if I needed them to come with me to the hospital when Howard King was shot by the police and what have you, they would show up in forces.
Now that's Howard King that just passed away not too long ago.
2 years
connected
ago.
with Barnabas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Boniface at that time. At that time, he was a part of the organization I was working
WCO?
for. Yeah, he was one of the youth. In fact, the police was constantly harassing them, and they was multinational. And so, we got the league involved, and every time Howard was hurt, was confronted by the police, I would call up General and John and all of them, and said, meet me at the hospital. Well, because we needed to be there because we didn't know what they were going to do to them. The other, Fred Lyles, who was one of the poster people, who came to us and talked to me about the question of how the people they needed to organize a tenant union. We got together and helped him organize a tenant union here in Detroit, and Fred played a part. But it came one day that all of us was called into the office, and they asked me when I got up, where you been? Well, I had been out of town. And they said, we've been trying to call everybody. I said, I checked in with all y'all where I was going. And General told me at that time, and I said, what is all that blood on the stairs? They said, Fred was shot yesterday. And so I went to running up the stairs because Fred and I were close together. But we found out that bullet was not for Fred. It was for General Baker. And the bullet came out of off of top of what is the name of the place on Grand River where a lot of Union people hang out?
TULC.
TULC. We never found out who really shot that bullet. As far as I'm concerned, it was the FBI and no telling who else. But they because General was in there talking to him. They were meeting, and I know I had to get over there for the meeting, and what have you. But they had shot him, and when I got the information, and I was able to go to the hospital and see Fred, because I heard he was asking me to see Fred. Howard greeted me. He said, look, somebody want to talk to you. This guy has been in the hospital. I said his name. I knew who it was and went round there. And it was amazing, Maureen. They had shot him and he was paralyzed down.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a hurting thing, but he people like
Connected
that
to the league.
connected to us as well as connected to the community. Really connected. He would come, he would get his mail out and go on the street and try to organize against the slum landlords that they were facing at that particular time. These are people that you don't know nothing about. And that's why, like at the General Baker Institute, we want y'all to learn who those folks were. They were every bit of people that
Talking about
love,
pioneer organizers.
love their community. And we would be out late at night. I had 2 Doberman pictures I had in my car all the time, trying to meet with people around, the problems that they were holding and what have you. And General Baker was one of the ones in the forefront of that. You can always count on General not only to be out there, but to help to teach the community about the tools that you have in order to organize.
Now you can go online and you can Google
Yeah.
General Gordon Baker, and pages and pages and pages and pages of things come up. Chuck Wooten's name, Charles Wooten, Miss Gracie that calls in to us from time to time, her husband. And some of the names of the folks, including Marion Kramer. What's the lady's name? Mabel
Thomas.
Okay. Some of the ladies that were involved early on with the League of Revolutionary Black Workers.
Eileen.
Eileen.
That was
but
Jan's
Marion,
first wife.
say, what was the significance of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers? Why was it important?
Well, they had started.
You have to say we.
No, I didn't say we.
No, I'm saying you have to say we. Yeah, you
No.
was part of it.
Yeah, I know I was a part of it. I told you I
Yeah.
was the only woman at the during meeting when we organized it.
What was the importance of the league?
The thing they were getting a lot of complaints about what was happening in the factories.
Working conditions.
Uh-huh. And see, Chuck, that's Charles Wooten, General Baker, and several others started on Sundays. We had started having these meetings with the workers, and that place would be packed over there where we would meet. And they decided that, look, we're going to put out a leaflet to begin to help unite the people in there and tell them what their rights are. And the first place we hit, and Maureen, it was something, Mike Hamlin, John Watson. It was such amazing, and the women in the factory were part of this, and we got to a point where the young people started coming around, and they were organized to help get those leaflets out also, and help to get leaflets out at their schools to make it people understand why they were protesting. So they came together, on the heels of the civil rights movement, and began to clean up the problem of what workers were going through at these various factories. And they, the union, as well as the corporations, were outraged. They had to some kind of way get General Baker and the rest of them out of here. That was their order, but out of that, we had leaders that stepped forward. They think if you can hit one person, you could stop the movement. Hell no.
Well, maybe at that time and at that particular organization that didn't happen. But I know that it was Jen and Chuck and Mike Hamlin and John Williams and some of those early folks that, I hadn't met you all yet. And the next group of workers that Jen and them introduced, I remember hearing stories, Lil Ock talking about coming out of high school and passing out leaflets. But the next group that started to go into the UAW, into the factories, was Cass. Cass Bell. And we talking about Sandra Williams at that time.
Not Sandra Williams, Sandra
Was
Mitchell.
Was it Mitchell at that time?
She finally became yeah.
Okay. And Glenda. Okay, Glenda.
Glenda was at Cadillac.
And some of the women
Claire.
workers. Claire, that's right, McClinton. And ushered in that whole era of ladies going into the plant and having bank accounts and having monies and having big cars and all of those kinds of things. And, what an historical moment. The
It
League
was a
of Revolutionary
historic
Black
moment.
Workers.
And in fact,
Lynn Battle.
yeah, at that particular time, Lynn became president.
Laureen Small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Laureen,
influenced by all of this that was happening.
Great.
Gracie.
Gracie, you mentioned Gracie
Gracie
earlier.
already involved trying to make the paperwork right.
Yeah, it was a whole now.
We
did put out a newsletter, and that was the responsibility of the of the women that came together and put that newspaper together. And the one that we kind of worked on most of the time was the
Drum.
drum. The
Now
drum
that's
baby.
Dodge
Drum
Revolutionary
baby. Drum.
Union Movement.
Yeah,
but
no.
the fact that it said drum. But Marion, it influenced Elrum. I remember Eldon Revolutionary Union.
Well, each
each
section,
factory.
each section of workers that would come in there and were having problems.
Ibn Pori Pitts come up with the postal one.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
room
yeah.
at the post office. Yeah, I remember some of those documents.
And
you
so
know, that's the importance.
the thing that our kids learn from that, not only did they learn from it, they began to understand much more what we were trying to do. They didn't have it all, But now, and I tell you, when they look back, they understand and willing to
Significant.
teach it.
Significant. All
And
right.
that
Well,
type of
I
stuff.
wanted to make certain that.
Let me say this about the teachers.
Go ahead.
We even help the teachers to organize. And, the thing was not to help them to organize and take over their responsibility. It was help them to organize and use these tools for you to join, to build your particular section of the class and what have you. It was amazing, Maureen.
The late Tyrone Travis was
Yeah.
a part of the original League of Revolutionary Black Workers. But the whole point being that what the League represented was the importance of union organizing and fighting for the rights of workers.
Be you
And
women
then
or
made it a bigger issue because it wasn't just fighting for the rights of workers at this one plant. All of the plants, and then branching out to teachers and nurses and what's her name, Pat? I can't think of Pat's last name.
Yeah,
the
Pat,
nurse.
I know what you're talking about.
You know, and all of these the postal workers and whatnot, and raising this issue of union organizing and whatnot. That the reason Detroit, Pontiac, Flint became one of the foremost cities, blue collar cities in the world, was right on the backs of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers, who said, this is why these things are important. This is why. So, as I say,
Well, it
you
was
can
the
Google.
sit-down. The sit-down that did Flint a lot of things, and which was, they were dynamite also.
Well, I'm saying union organizing. So I wanted to put the name of General Baker, Charles Wooten, and some of those folks into the conversation around Black History Month.
Let me say this, the young people
Okay.
did a tremendous job in taking up the question of education and taking up the question of racism and taking up and they were facing a lot of trouble in those schools. I remember when we got a call from Carl and all of them and said, look, we over here on the east side, I can't remember the name of the school, on the east side, and they beginning to run us, trying to beat us up and stuff. And we got those workers together, and we got over there. We got them all on the bus and got them out. And Maureen, it was crazy. I thought I was back down in the civil rights movement again. But I was proud of those young people. They stuck
Fighting and
together.
organizing.
They stuck together. They were smart too.
I remember.
Because if they didn't know history, folks was teaching them at the office.
I remember some of those college demonstrations, and that's where y'all came and found me.
Oh Lord,
And, but
have
I
mercy.
remember. No,
Oh
no, no.
Lord, have mercy.
I'm gonna bring up a name, and I remember you and Diane, and I know once me and Diane went over, and I think this was at the University of Michigan, and there was a Black Student Union organized in a demonstration. Something about racism in the college. I don't remember what the details
Yeah, we
were.
would go up to,
and there was, well, now I'm
Michigan
getting ready to
State,
come
all
up
that.
with a particular name where there was a young man who was one of the leaders of that movement, and his name was Daryl Dawsey.
Oh, Daryl.
Daryl
came
Dawsey,
to us.
yeah. Well, he
I
called
came-
us.
Yeah, he came.
And Diane and I went up there and gave him some money and passed some food out and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that comes out of the history of the League of Revolutionaries. All of that comes out of the
Daryl
history,
still is somewhat.
You haven't seen him in a while.
He's in. I don't forget what state now. But he
He
he's
came out of that movement, though.
Uh-huh.
All right. Wanted to say something about General Baker and Charles Wooten. We're down to our final half
Carl
an hour.
Williams,
Who?
Lilac. He was in
Carl. Yeah. Okay, all of those folks. Okay. All right. Want to raise a couple other things. We just found out, or I just found out yesterday, that Karen Hudson Samuels.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Down at this radio station and other radio stations or whatnot, just passed away. Tim knew her, and that's Tim down here at this station. has a history, just knowledge of this young woman. And Marion, it took her a minute, but she remembered that this is a sister of one of folks that we came up with, Margaret Hudson's
Who
sister.
was at one time over the
You know?
just recently, who have came out and was able, she was always
She's a psychologist. That's what I
that's a-
know
yeah,
about
yeah,
Margaret.
That's Margaret. But
Yeah.
what I want to bring out for those three sisters is they not only were they close, but they come from a background that they had a minister father, and what have you. And Margaret in particular, Margaret was a part of the league also, and has done tremendous job here in the state as far as health care.
That's right.
And it really hurts.
We knew
because
people that 20, 30 years ago were suffering with things that we didn't know what the name was.
it sure did.
And she had to tell us there is something called bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
There is something called schizophrenia, a schizophrenic affect. And it was Margaret that we had to call on her, and she'd give us clinicals. She'd give us
I
education.
mean, it was clear.
So that we could understand what it is that our family and friends were suffering from and how to treat it. So again, all of that comes out of the roots of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers. All of these people that we're talking about, and so many more that can't even remember all these folks.
Waistline and
Daryl Mitchell, William Mitchell, called Mitch, and Daryl Mitchell we call Waistline, and all Ken Cockrell. All of these individuals come out of the roots of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers. And there was a group of revolutionary white attorneys that come out of that as well. And some of those folks are still, what's that guy named Ron Rioski? I only met him once or twice. Well, he comes out of that though.
Yeah.
No, nothing personal about it, but these are people that came out of that kind of a fight. Some judges and whatnot that come out of that kind of fight.
Well, the attorneys.
Motor City Labor League, that's what was the name
The
of it. I couldn't
attorneys
remember.
had to. They didn't
Buck Davis.
run the stuff. When we had to have meetings with them when it was time to go into
need
court on
lawyers,
stuff to understand that you're representing our interests. And this, we played a part on helping them to understand what was happening in those factories for before the judges and all that stuff, and try to win what was necessarily for the workers. And it was the first time a lot of them got together like that. It was quite interesting.
And coming out of the roots of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers. All of this that we've been talking about for the last, 30 minutes. And so many more people and whatnot coming out of that. Let's move
Your
on to
ex-husband was played a hell of a role in that too.
Jerome Scott, and Mary's talking about Ed Taylor. Russell Jackson.
Yeah, Russell came a little later.
Yeah, later, but all of
later.
it coming out of those roots. All right, let's move on. We just found out about Miss Karen, at least I did, and Marion only found out about this morning, and we certainly lend our condolences and our sympathies on the
family.
loss of this wonderful young woman, and hope that the conspiracy theorists don't run with this, because there's a conversation that says because Miss Karen had a virus vaccine shot the day before, a couple of days before, something like that. And of course, people are trying to connect that to what happened in terms of why and how she made her transition. And none of that information is accurate. None of that. And I guess there's still, I don't know, unless there's something new, her reason for passing. Didn't have anything to do with the vaccine
We
shot,
haven't heard yet, as of yet, when
cause of death.
not only the cause of death, when service is.
No. Tim says that's been 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
So, we're just finding out about it.
Okay.
So, yeah, something
That
probably
hurts.
already happens, All right, this morning I got a list, and I thought I don't need to keep writing down this list. If you're looking for a house to buy and or rent,
That's
call
right.
Satisfaction Realty. I'm about to sneeze. Ooh. Call Satisfaction Realty. I have one. I have a whole box right there. All right, and you can call Satisfaction at area code 248-424-8825. Satisfaction Realty, 248-424-8825. And then, Marion, my Sojourner, I was going to say my Black History Month icon that I wanted to raise was Sojourner Truth. And everybody knows about Sojourner Truth. I'm saying it that way because she's a popular name. And once a year in February, the school children are asked to go out and find information about folks. But I had a particular liking of Sojourner Truth. They say she was almost 6 feet tall, very dark. She was born Isabella Baumfree, Baumfree, in New York. She's born in 1791, and in those days, you could be a slave in the upper part of the United States of America. It wasn't all Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, wasn't all that. Well, Miss Sojourner picked that name, Sojourner, which is a journey person trying to tell the truth. And all of the stories about Sojourner Truth. I think, Marion, you and your family went to see the movie Harriet that talked about Harriet Tubman. But Sojourner I always had a liking for her. And one of just so many stories, and she's an abolitionist and fighting for the rights of women. Fighting for abortions for women that had been raped by slave masters and should be able to get an abortion because you were sexually assaulted. So all of that history and whatnot. And I remember some years ago when I started to, understand a little bit, read a little bit about Sojourner Truth. And here comes that poem. It's got many different variations, but the poem Ain't I a Woman?
I love that.
And the essence of the Ain't I a Woman story was supposedly she was about to board public transportation. Some kind of a truck, or it wasn't a truck, but it would have been a wagon or something. And men were moving things out of the way for white women to go and sit down. And she got ready to go and take a seat, and nobody moved anything. And she read, issued those words, I'm a woman like any other woman. Am I not important enough, decent enough, empirical enough for somebody to want to move or hold my arm to help me to get on this wagon and whatnot? Ain't I a woman? And it's a very popular piece, and I used to recite it in different readings growing up. But the other part that sticks out to me is this part. She born in 1791. She passed away in 1883. So we're talking about 83 plus 9. She was 92 years old when she passed away. And is buried in Battle Creek, Michigan. And that's the part I thought was important. I used to go up to Battle Creek. I probably went there about 3, 4, probably more times in October of every year, where folks in Battle Creek have festivals dedicated to the memory of Sojourner Truth. And I've gone several times. And then I stopped going on that kind of a basis and started to take my mom and took Navarre and took Tiffany a couple times and members of my family. And we would go up to Battle Creek, and I wrote it all down. It's in my telephone book. She's buried at Oak Hill Cemetery in Battle Creek. If you haven't been there, it's worth the trip. I know we got COVID
It doesn't
and all
take
kind
too
of
long
stuff.
to get there, neither.
Yeah, but you have to go individually now, but you got to drive to Battle Creek. So it's a 4-hour drive to get to Battle Creek, 3.5 hours, something like that. And on the cemetery stone, her name, date of birth, date of death, said something about had 12 children that they knew of and how many of them had been sold off, that kind of thing. But then at the bottom of the gravestone, it's this question that she asked, and that question is God dead? And every time I would go up there and take family or friends and go and look at that gravestone, and at the bottom of that great big stone, taller than me, and that was the question on the back side of that gravestone: is God dead? And I would have asked the same thing, having to live in that kind of circumstance, and your children born, and then somebody come and take your daughter, take your son, and sell them off to a farmer or a plantation owner somewhere. And that was the question that was on her mind as she left this earth, 1883. So are you about to say something about the mask? Because I see in the middle of the broadcast you decided to put the mask on. Oh, you got chili in your face.
Not
Well,
only
one thing about that mask in the wintertime, it feels kind of good when it's cold outside. All right, and then, Marion, I had one more I wanted to raise. There was a man by the name of William Freeman, born in Cordele, and I think it's Cordele. I meant to look it up. Born in Cordele, Georgia. William Freeman was one of three children, brother named Thomas and a sister named Mary, named Mattie Lou, Mattie Lou, Lou, last name Freeman. Well, Mr. William Freeman, after some exchanging some words with Klans people or suspected Klans people, he came north and ended up in Detroit, had a few dollars because he was a farmer and had his own land, and had a couple of dollars and opened up what became the first African American cab company in Detroit. It was not a city cab like a lot of people think. City cab was the second, but this was the exchange cab company. And it was William Freeman, a good friend of his named John Martin, and all I can remember the rest of those folks was Study Boy and names that you don't even know who these people are, but that's what they were called. And William Freeman was the owner and the proprietor and the CEO of the Exchange Cab Company. And from William, these other folks were born. And the oldest one is William Freeman Jr., Agatha Freeman, who later became Agatha McCann, Henrietta Freeman, who later became Henrietta Carter, Clarence Freeman, Pauline Freeman, who later became Pauline Milton, Robert Freeman, Willa Mae Freeman, who later became Willa Mae Holland, Thomas Freedom, and Phyllis Freedom. And the reason I know these names so well, Marion, William is number 9, Agatha number 8, Henrietta, we just lost. Henrietta Freeman is the one we call Honey. And Honey was the caretaker for every one of her sisters and brothers that are on this list. Honey left us 7/7/2020. And she was 99 years of age. First time she was ever in the hospital was when she was 98. And she developed a urinary tract infection, and none of us knew what it was, because we don't come from a family that's sick. Not that many. So she passed away. She was 99. That's Aunt Honey. And then Clarence was number 6, and number 5. 4 brothers and sisters older and 4 brothers and sisters younger was Pauline, and her name is spelled Paulyne. And the reason I know that is she's number 5, and that was my mama. And from Pauline, we got Maureen, and we got Sharon. So my brothers, my uncles, their brothers and sisters, these women in my family, independent women, and they drove cars. That's how I got to be crazy like I am today. They went and got convertibles. They had jobs. My Aunt Honey worked at the Whittier Hotel and was one of the light-skinned ones running the elevator with the gloves on and put your hand behind your back, and 3rd floor, foundations, shoes, and then they would list everything, So the historical black folks that ended up in Detroit. We talked about Viola Ross last time and what a legacy these women brought. But then, today I wanted to at least drop off the names of these uncles. Uncle Bill, Feet. Actually, Feet, it wasn't his name. That's the way I thought it was, Feet, all this time. But his name was Free. And they was calling him Freeman. And Free, Free, Free suddenly became Feet if little kids are hearing it. And that's what they started calling him. So Uncle Bill, my Uncle Clarence is the one they called Jeffrey. And Jeffrey had one, or Jeffrey, Clarence had one daughter, Brenda. And Brenda was the first person I ever heard of. I remember we were all the same age, little, and go out to the farm where my grandfather relocated. And Brenda playing around and ended up with lead poisoning. They took her to Sumter Hospital, and they wouldn't treat her because she was black. She was 9 years old. And after 2 or 3 days of this blood poisoning building up, she's 9 years old and she died. And my uncle Clarence took his first drink, and he never stopped. But he stopped long enough to join the Army. So Feet, Jeff, Robert, and Tommy, all of them were in the Army except for Thomas. Was it Thomas? Yeah, they was all in the Army.
Yeah, Thomas.
All of them was in the Army, and my uncle Thomas became a loyal member of Local 600
Yes,
when he
did.
went out
Yeah,
to the
yes,
factory
he
to get a job, and there they were. So my Aunt Agatha, the one we used to call Auntie, she worked and had multiple jobs. Henrietta worked at AAA. That's where she retired from, and that's before she made all of those adjustments down there at the Whittier and whatnot. My mother worked for Michigan Bell, and my mother was one of the last of the kept women. She was kept. My
was.
father kept my mother. My
I-
mother
I-
never
I can
learned how to
testify.
drive. Huh?
I can testify. to
My
that.
mother wanted something from the store. I could just hear the conversation. I thought this is the way you're supposed to act when you get grown. And my mother would say, I want such and such. And my father would say, of course, my darling. And go out and get in the car and got whatever it is that she wanted. And at night, you know, my father worked for the post office when he would be sorting mail on trains in them days. And he'd be gone for 1 or 2 days and stop off at the bakery and get me and my sister some stuff and get my mother some stuff and come back. And he would show up at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, dead tired. My mother would put on some music. And I'd listen, I'm paying attention, I'm trying to stay woke, hardly keep my eyes open. And I could hear the music, and I'd jump up and go to the door as if they couldn't hear me. I know they did now. And open the door and peek out, and my mother and my father was dancing slow ballroom, and my father was one of the ones that put his thumb up in the air, and he danced with my mother. Always referred to her as my bride, and married 190 years, but always called her his bride. My aunt Willa Mae had one job. She worked for 40 plus years at the Armory over on 8 Mile Road.
And
She one of the
always
last
dressed up.
ones. One of the last ones to have a job for that long. But she was a fashion plate, boy.
And had that cigarette.
You know, yeah, had cigarettes. And honey used to have a cigarette lighter. You remember the cigarette lighter, the 2 feet. You know, thought she was Barbara Streisand. You have to sit up here.
Wait a minute, my back is hurting now. But
You know, but she had a cigarette holder.
yeah, all
Thought
of
she
them.
was Barbara Streisand before Barbara Streisand got here, you know?
I'll tell you another family.
Well, wait, I ain't finished. I have to finish up with not only did Willa Mae work one time, she had one husband. He was in the Army as well, and that's Uncle Howard Holland. And then the last one was Phyllis. And Phyllis is mother to LaRue.
Yep.
And Phyllis was a school teacher. She's the first person in my family that got a master's degree. First one. And because she went to college, got an undergraduate degree in teaching, and then got her master's degree in education, I wanted to do the same thing. That's why I went to school, got an undergraduate degree, and went further and got a master's degree because Phyllis Freeman had a master's degree first. Now, what family are you thinking of?
There's a couple of families, and that's the Hughes. I mean, Diane Bernard family. 2 sisters that were not only in the Black Panther organization with us, but also the League of Revolutionary Black Workers, and was instrumental in a lot of the work that that we would do at that particular time. The other ones in the Black Student United organization was Linda Wheeler, Terry Wheeler, their father and their mother, Mr. and Mrs. Wheeler. They support. There were some parents that supported us. They were afraid for us, and what have you. But they felt good with their kids being out there with us, because we wasn't gonna let nothing happen to them. So it was a lot of folks here in Highland Park, because Daryl used to be in Highland
From
Park.
Daryl Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Not Daryl Jordan, Waistline.
Oh.
It was it here in Highland Park. It was
Daryl
quite
Mitchell.
a few of the young, as far as the Black Student United Front, it really got organized. A lot of it got organized here in Highland Park. And those young people, my heart went out to them. They learned so fast and was able to articulate with the problems that they were having in the school system, and they were some of the backbones of taking on the education system to be fair, just like you do in the white schools,
All right. I'm moving away from the subject of Black history, because we've got 5 or 6 minutes left, and wanted to say something about the miracle that happened in Highland Park just this last week. And several of Highland Parkers, including Gracie and Linda and you and Pat Harris and some other folks, been jockeying and demanding that residents in Highland Park have a place to go get the vaccine.
Yes.
And that
So
battle
Gracie
been
Wood.
going on, for quite some time.
Uh-huh.
And finally, this last Monday and Tuesday, vaccines were delivered to a couple of places in Highland Park. And one of them is the Oak Street Clinic there on Woodward, right off of Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
And they're managing vaccines for persons 65 years of age and older. Now, I'm not sure if they're vaccinating 65 years of age and older that are not part of their patient
They need to
list.
call
I'm
and
not
find
sure.
out.
But if you're interested, you're 65 and older, and you want to get that vaccine, you can call the Oak Street Clinic right there on Woodward in Highland Park. And then finally, at 211 Glendale, the city of Highland Park opened up an opportunity for Highland Park residents to be vaccinated. On Monday of this week that just passed, there were 500 doses of vaccine delivered to Oak Park. There were 450 vaccines delivered to 211 Glendale. And you have to call. Everybody has to call, in order to make an appointment, so they can tell you what day, what time to come in. But the other part is, and Marion, you had raised it several times, Hamtramck. What's going to happen to folks in Hamtramck? So at the same time we got vaccine at these
Because
other
we're
two
not
places.
selfish, Maureen.
What we did was make certain that Hamtramck was also part of this, and they got 400, or it might have been 450 doses of vaccine delivered at the same time. And of course, everybody's got to call. Everybody's got to call in an effort to get on a list so that you can get the vaccines. And they have to tell you when and what time to come. So the third place that Highland Parkers are able to go get, and I guess it's about to be a fourth place now, but the third place is up at Myers, up on 8 Mile Road in Woodward. You have to call. Everybody's got to call. And I think they're about to change the protocol. You don't have to be 65 anymore in Detroit. In Detroit, you could be 60 or older, 55 years of age or older with a disability, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, in a wheelchair. So the number of people that are going to be eligible, and that's the new one I saw the other day, mortuary workers. If you work in a funeral home and you have to touch bodies of folks that may have the virus. So they're included, the governor included them, to be able to get your vaccine. And for the most part, it's the Moderna. I think it is only Moderna and Pfizer.
They were talking about
Just those two now.
Well, yeah, the other day they were claiming that there was a shortage of the Vern.
Oh, they always got a shortage.
I say,
but
Lord,
that's
Emma.
because they got to ramp it up. You know,
Yeah.
they were
Well,
making
listen, yeah.
1,000 a week. Now they're making 1,000 every 3 days. In a minute, they're going to have to make 1,000 an hour. You know, but that means they got to have more staff. They got to find a bigger place. You got to have this
You
chemical,
should be
that chemical,
angry
that
at
chemical.
The past president
Trump. Reason
that
we
sit
behind.
on that
Yes,
stuff
he
for
did.
so long and was killing people.
Yes, he did, allowing
And those-
people to
and
die.
those Republicans also that sit on the stuff along with him.
Ted Cruz from Texas, he went to Cancun.
Yeah.
He took his daughters to Cancun during the middle of a crisis in Texas.
Just
People
like-
don't have no heat.
No
He
heat.
get on a plane, and then after he heard about the flap that was developing, he come right back. Well, I only was going to drop off my daughters.
That's like,
I'm taking care of my daughters like the people in the people in America supposed to take care of their daughters. But Beto O'Rourke from El Paso, where was he? Him and his wife and his family's at the church, packing up water, packing up sandwiches, bread, and all kind of stuff, and they making deliveries. But Ted Cruz
Let me
went to Cancun, where it's 84 degrees
That
today.
brings back to me the
Water life.
how people were treated during the tornado there. And
Talking about Katrina.
yeah, when they left, the mayor left. Remember, you and I was talking on the phone. The mayor left and took his family somewhere from away from
Took 'em
New
to safety.
Orleans. And then came back later and stuff. When people asked him, well, I had to get my family out. You didn't give a damn about the people that you left.
Not the rest of the family.
The people in New Orleans.
He
that
left
you
them
supposed
school
to
buses
represent.
out there, remember?
Yes, he did.
Left them school buses that could have been requisitioned to pick people up and take them to higher ground.
You know, this is criminal.
You know. All right, Marion, looks like we're down to our last minute. Say something in closing in terms of, you know, stuff is really difficult, stressful in America right now. All kind of pandemic issues, and you know, went to go get. I'll tell that when I get ready to say my goodbyes. But what do you have to say about the miracle in Highland Park? You got some vaccines.
Well,
and
we're gonna have to keep
some other
fighting.
stuff. This snow. What do you want to say about it?
I'm glad that you got on that task force. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take another task force to be on. But you've been doing a good job, and not only representing and making sure that our section of the class is getting some type of services, but at the same time reached out and because we are a member of Welfare Rights, we don't play that stuff. There's some other people might play that. Look, Highland Park has been overlooked. We keep saying that for years.
Yeah.
And Maureen took that to Lansing with her, and been fighting with other friends of ours to be able to, take care of that. Thanks, Mo.
All right, now I'm gonna say goodbye as well. I went to go get a bottle of A1 sauce, all right, for my little hamburgers. I'm gonna try to stop eating because they taste so good. And as I was reaching to get it and looking at something else, I didn't notice the sign in terms of how much it costs.
How much?
And a bottle of A1 sauce was $6 and change. And I thought, what in the world? And what it is the result of the pandemic. That's what's getting ready to happen to this gasoline because these oil refineries are offline. So next week we're going to be talking about Black history, but we also going to be talking about selective boycotts against certain gas stations. We don't have to go and do gas there. All right, we're down to our last 1 second. And in 1 second, what can we say, Marion?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
There's a new financial empowerment center located in the Wayne County Treasurer's Office on the 5th floor of 400 Monroe in Detroit.
If you or someone you know needs help with their finances, budgeting, and making monthly payments, the Detroit Financial Empowerment Center can help.
Wayne Metro Community Action Agency has counselors ready to provide free one-on-one counseling to help you address issues related to utility bills, taxes, and other financial matters. We can also help you improve your credit score.